Then about 1/3 of our alumni work in, let's say, civil society organizations that also deal with governance issues and with public problems. So-called Quangos and NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. You can think about, for instance, healthcare institutions, housing companies, but also all kinds of interest groups that may want to influence decision making in Brussels. And then finally, approximately 40% of our alumni work in the private sector. So it is a program in European public administration, but still you can see that you can end up in the public sector as well as in the private sector. And if you think about the private sector, you can think about very large companies, you can think about research organizations, you can think about consultancies, you can also think about, for instance, the assurance and banking sector, which is quite important. Why do these employers want people that have studied public administration? Well, because they are also dealing with public policies. They are dealing with regulation, and they also want to influence decision making, and they want to have people that know how public policy is made. A few examples of our alumni. This is Gera Arts, one of our older alumni, so to speak. She studied here in the 90s and finished in 1999. She did a bachelor program in public administration and a master program in European studies. And then she had a career path that was actually quite versatile. She started to work at Klingendaal. Klingendaal is a well-known think tank in the Netherlands that deals with European affairs, with diplomacy, security studies and that kind of thing. Then she moved to the VRR, the Scientific Council for Government Policy, and she worked there for a couple of years because there was a large project at that time on EU integration and subsidiarity and that kind of stuff. And then finally she moved to the RDW, the National Agency for Traffic, and now she is a senior advisor there. And you think, oh, traffic, what has that got to do with European public administration? Well, she is advising the board of that agency on EU affairs and how they can deal with EU affairs in terms of strategy. So she is watching, monitoring, and trying to influence EU decision making. And she's also the secretary for the Association of European Vehicle and Driver Registration Authorities. Actually, Gera is quite a busy bee because in addition to this, she's also in the board of the European Movement, Netherlands, and she is part of the so-called HYPE, the Hartman Young Professionals for Europe network. That's Gera. I will move on to Elisabeth. Elisabeth is one of our, let's say, younger alumni. She graduated in 2005. She worked for a while here at the university, at SCHEPS, which is one of our research institutes that deals with higher education policies. And after that, she moved to work for a consultancy firm in Berlin. And that consultancy firm advises clients on innovation projects, lifelong learning projects, and so on and so on. So that is what Elisabeth is now doing. Okay, then Anne Liekenbrock, and I'm told that I just have to do this and then it works.
Hello, my name is Anne Liekenbrock. I work at the European Parliament in Brussels. I am heading the office of one of the members of the European Parliament from Germany. His name is Elmar Brok. And yes, I've been working here for 1.5 years already. And I hope that I'll be working here for quite a bit longer because this is a really exciting and interesting job. So basically the Parliament at this point has the competence of passing European Union law. My trigger to work for Brussels, I remember, it was one of my first lessons in university. And I think it was just something that clicked. And I thought, yeah, that's where I want to work because it's such an interesting concept of building the European Union, and I believe it's our future. So I thought I want to be part of this. So my daily work is very busy. My job is to manage the office of Mr. Elmar Brok. I have a lot of different tasks that have to be done during the day, which can be briefings for my boss, preparing a speech, running behind him to make sure he has the document he needs. And one of the really very present parts of my work is the telephone. I have the telephone stuck to my head at least 60% of my daily work because there's phone calls coming in from everywhere. So it's very interesting. I got a lot of input from all sides. I decided to go for the course at the University of Twente because I thought that the offer that they had in terms of the combination of courses was very good. It was a good combination of political science, economics, law and sociology. And I thought these are it's a very good foundation afterwards to really get into work and have the knowledge that you need in order to start working. My tip also is to say, do something really off your CV. Do something that is interesting, that's interesting to you, because everyone who applies has a very good CV, to be honest. And I think when I hire people, it's the small things that make the difference. When I see that someone maybe has been living abroad for a while and has been doing some volunteering work even or something, I think that's where you can see whether the heart of the person is in the right place and if they have real interests, or whether they only do their studies to earn a lot of money. And I think that's not what the goal should be about.
She worked for an NGO in Brussels for a couple of years, and before that she did a few internships in Brussels, but I think also in Germany. Here you can find some other examples, real-life examples of positions that alumni have. You can become a researcher, you can become a diplomat. We have a couple of diplomats, member of Dutch Parliament. We even have secretaries of state, deputy ministers that have studied here at Twente. But of course you can also think about becoming a major or becoming a PhD student at a university. Again, anything goes. It's a broad program and you can end up anywhere you want, and it is up to you to follow the career path that you want. Just a quick. If you want to know more, then of course you can go to our website. It's the most obvious place, and there you can read all the information that we have given you in your own time. If you have questions, just send them to the email address there, and then it will get to one of us. If you want to apply for the program, this is what you have to do. You have to go to StudyLink, look at European Public Administration. This is the code for the program, and you have to do so before the 1st of May 2014. Of course, I can imagine that you think, well, I want to know a bit more about what it is to be a student in this program. And what we can do, and you can find the card there, and Simone already mentioned that, is to be a student for one day. The idea is that you come here, that you join one of our students, and that you do everything that the student does in that day. And in that way you get an idea of what it means to be a student in our program. You can fill in the card if you want to do that, and you can also go to this website. Finally, if you want, we can also see if the program and you match. You can have an individual talk with our program coordinator, and he can tell you a bit more in detail about what it means to follow the program and whether it suits your personality, your character, and your interests. So that's another possibility that we can offer you.